Hi everyone, happy Easter. I hope you've all had a great week. In this week's report, we'll take a look at the lake levels, we'll see where the fish are biting, and there's been lots of fish caught this week. Pete took a great drone shot of his hometown during the week. Can you guess where? I've put together some stats on the beautiful mountain town of Adaminaby. There's the weather, pick of the week, and this week's fishing meme. Okay, let's start. Here's the report for the week ending the 20th of April, 2025. Taking a look at the lake levels, and Lake Eucumbene continues to fall rapidly, down another 0.7% this week. Some lake visitors cheekily mentioning they can actually see the water dropping. The lake is now 13% lower today than it was on this day last year. Jindabyne is also continuing to fall quickly, down another 0.5% this week. Tantangra Dam remains steady on 11.4%. Onto the fishing, and the combination of warm, dry autumn weather and the school holidays has seen an influx of people visiting the lake this week, and, as a result, lots of great fish have been caught by very happy anglers. Given today is Easter Sunday, I thought I'd use this pic I took as background to this week's fishing report. If you look closely, you'll see the Easter Bunny looking down on Angler's Reach this morning. Have to look really closely, he's there. Can't see him? How about now? Okay, enough of that. Let's take a look at who's caught fish this week. It's always great seeing kids getting out and about into the fresh mountain air, and it's even better seeing them beaming after catching a trout. Levi and his dad Rob spent last weekend at Seven Gates, with Levi catching this big brown while trolling. What a catch, Levi! Not content with this one, Levi turned his hand to spinning off the bank and caught a lovely rainbow on a pink tassie, his first ever lure catch. Looks like you're a natural, Levi.
Bye.
Hold him up. Nice work, bud. Well done. All by yourself.
Taking his first ever trip to Lake Eucumbene during the week was Seamus McGurk. I asked Seamus what he thought, and he said he was a little overwhelmed at the size of the lake, which threw him off a bit, and he had wished he'd done a little more research before going, but he absolutely loved the place. Seamus caught 2 trout during his stay and plans to make regular trips now. Come back soon, Seamus. Regular contributor Stuart Bennett, his best mate Adrian, and Adrian's wife Crystal spent some time at Middling Bank during the week, enjoying the warm, sunny weather. The group catching a few nice trout, including this lovely big brown landed by Crystal. Great catch, Crystal. I bet that one put up a nice fight. Not to be outdone, Stuart landed this great brown on the fly. Stuart saying that the fish were full of yabbies. Stuart also mentioning the lake was almost falling before his eyes. Thanks for sharing the great pics. Tom fished Jens Bay on Good Friday evening and landed this beauty, a big healthy brown. Tom said he caught it spinning a soft plastic shrimp pattern just on dark. What a ripper of a fish, Tom. Well done, mate. Regular visitor Reno was back at his favourite fishing lake this week, but this time brought a few mates. Looking the part in your Lake Eucumbene cap too, I must say, mate. Reno and the boys spending some time camping at Buckandera, and I bet some tall stories were told around that campfire. Reno kindly took another temperature reading for us. Looks like it's still a bit warm up there, mate. Well, for Canadian Club, that is. Reno assures me that's been taken care of. The cap was really working the trout on Good Friday, with Reno catching a few fish trolling and flying fishing the shores, including this nice brown, soon to be followed up with this one, who joined the boys for dinner. I bet that was yummy, mate. Reno was back on the water on Easter Saturday under partly cloudy skies and said the fishing was a bit slow. Having said that, Reno still managed to land 4, with this brown the largest at 55 centimetres. Reno using 3 colours of leader on a Tassie bullfrog pattern. Another great catch, Reno, but please remember, mate, leave some fish in the lake for the rest of us. Hope you enjoy the rest of your time up there. Also enjoying some time at Eucumbene during the week was Nate Smith. Beautiful boat too, Nate. Nate mentioning the mornings were a bit brisk and foggy, but it's always worth braving the elements to be at the lake. Making the effort even sweeter, Nate landed some great fish. Nate's method to catch the fish this time was bouncing the lead rigger bombs off the yabby banks. Nate recorded a water temperature of 15.7 degrees during Thursday afternoon. Thanks for sharing your trip with the group, Nate. Also, currently at the lake is Sydney Hewson. Sydney and group are staying at Frying Pan and started their trip in style, landing these big browns. The trout, 4.5 and 5 pounds respectively, were landed using an olive fur fly. Great catches, and I bet they tasted sweet. Thanks for sharing with the group. Recent lake visitor Scott landed this beautiful brown with a worm fished under a bubble float. Scott's tip is to find a spot out of the wind and you won't go wrong. Thanks for the advice, Scott, and a great catch, mate. Good mates Blake and Nick fished Buckenderra this week in the beautiful autumn weather. Nick landing this big brown on his third cast. Not a bad effort, Nick. I usually take a lot more casts than that to catch one. I received a great update from regular Eucumbene angler Warren Sharp yesterday. Lake Eucumbene has a high population of tiny midges. Trout like eating midge is a staple part of their diet. Tiny midge fly patterns have caught trout for Warren of up to 4 pounds in recent seasons. Many midge fly patterns have a tail representing the shuck, some have an emerging wing. Warren said that none he'd ever seen directly match an emerging natural just before the shuck is released. So Warren decided to create his own. Warren nicknamed this size 16 Double Trouble to more closely match an emerging midge. After using this in the rivers with success, Warren gave it a run at Lake Eucumbene, fished just under the water surface under a hopper pattern. Judging by this catch, it seems Lake Eucumbene trout also like Double Trouble too. Well done, Warren, and I think you'll get a lot of messages from anglers wanting one. Glenn Miles spent a lovely mild Good Friday afternoon out on the water. Glenn fished around Warwick Island, which is one of my favourite fishing spots when I'm out on the boat. Glenn said that while he only managed to land this one on this day with a pink tassie, he had a great time. Glenn went out again on Easter Saturday and said he came close to the fish of a lifetime. Glenn was trolling a Rapala jointed lure in 10 metres of water with 5 colours of lead line out when whack! His rod bent double. Glenn saying this fish was 70 centimetres or 10 pounds at least. Glenn got him into the net, which was way too small for him, and 1 second of hesitation from the net man, and he was gone. The one that got away, Glenn, you'll have to come back soon and catch him next time. Fiona and Greg spent a great Easter Saturday in the boat, flatlining with Tassie Devils around Angler's Reach. Judging by this pic posted by Fiona, the fish were really biting. What a great haul, guys. Thanks for posting and sharing with the group. Finally, on the fishing front for this week, Matthias caught this monster brown. Although I don't have many details about the catch, it looks like the fish was caught at Providence Portal. Whatever the case, what a beauty. My longtime friend Peter Wilson lives in Adaminaby and took this great drone shot of this lovely mountain town. Peter's lived in Adaminaby for most of his life, and the love and passion he shows for the town and region is obvious. I vividly remember catching the bus to high school with Pete. It used to pick us up from across the road from the Big Trout, next to what was Lee Stewart's shop. Pete and his family have done so much over the years for the town, and Pete's photos and reports are helping keep Adaminaby on the map. Pete is super proud of his town, just as I am. I love this photo, Pete. A couple of places to point out: the Adaminaby pool, the Big Trout and playground, the main centre including the shops and the Snow Goose Hotel, and one of the houses I lived in back in the day on Scenic Drive. While I was reminiscing about Adaminaby, I thought I'd share some stats on the town taken from the last census in 2021. Anyone who knows me knows how much I love a stat. Adaminaby had a population of 257 in 2021, with more males than females, 54% to 46%, which is very different to the rest of Australia that has a 51% female, 49% male split. The median age of the Adaminaby population was 52, much older than the 38 for Australia. There are less younger people in Adaminaby than the average for Australia, with just 15% aged between 0 and 19, and the population is older, with more than half being 70 or more. 34% of the Adaminaby population was married, 46% for Australia, and 14% were divorced, 9% for Australia. Couples with children make up 28% of the population, and 57% of couples don't have children. 44% of the Adaminaby population are in the labour force, compared to 61% for Australia. The rest of the stats are on screen, so I won't go through them all, But proving Adaminaby is a fairly multicultural town, the top 5 birthplaces of its residents are Australia, England, Austria, Venezuela, and the USA. It will be interesting to see how much Adaminaby has changed when the next census takes place in 2026. Looking at the weather for next week at Lake Eucumbene, and it's great to report finally some rain is in the forecast. Maximum temperatures will be cool to mild and range between 18 degrees on Thursday to a cooler 13 degrees next weekend. Nights will be pretty pleasant for this late into autumn. Some rain looks likely on most days next week, with up to 20 millimetres possible over the next 7 days. For pick of the week, I've gone with this unusual but great photo sent in by Reno. As I mentioned earlier in the report, Reno and a few of his mates spent some free time fishing around Bucandera during the week. Reno took this pic on Easter Friday night at Bucandera, but you'd be excused for thinking it was Sydney Harbour, as plenty of people took advantage of the Easter break and beautiful sunny weather to visit Lake Eucumbene. It's a really cool photo, Reno. Thanks for posting, mate. And don't forget, if you've been up to the lake or region lately and have taken a great photo, why not post it to the Lake Eucumbene Facebook group and you might just see it here in a future report. This week's fishing meme was sent in by Anthony Shaw. Anthony runs the Tantangara Dam Facebook fishing group, and if you haven't checked it out yet, you should. It's great. I can definitely relate to this one, as I'm sure most people watching this can. Still beats going to work. So true. Thanks for sharing, Anthony. The meme actually reminded me of one of my favourite ever days fishing at Old Adaminaby one winter. So peaceful, so quiet, and absolutely beautiful. Well, that's the report for this week. Hope you found it useful. Please reach out if you have any feedback or suggestions. And don't forget, if you're looking for more information on Lake Eucumbene, check out my social media channels. There's the website, Facebook, Instagram, and of course YouTube. And don't forget to like and subscribe to get notified whenever I put up new videos. Have a great week, everyone. Happy Easter, stay safe, and tight lines. Bye for now.